Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the sixth form webinar, our first sixth form webinar, actually doing it like this in this little very relaxed style. This evening I am delighted to say that Sierra, Lisa and Kea have joined us today in order to answer some of your questions about life in the sixth form. We've had a lot of questions through from year 9s and year 10s asking what it's like in the sixth form, and a lot of them have got very, very distinct views about how tough life is in the sixth form and how difficult A-levels are, and are also very, very uncertain about what it's like to study and the kind of support that there is available. So hopefully this evening our gorgeous sixth formers are going to be able to put those fears to bed and reassure you that life in the sixth form, particularly here at SWPS, can be fun as well as productive. Yeah? Okay, so let's make a start, because quite a few year 9s have all asked this quite serious question. They're asking, they know that A-levels are hard, right? But exactly how hard are they? What do you reckon?
Well, I think they're definitely a step up. And yeah, they have to be, don't they? But the focus is a lot more on application. So it's a lot less recall, and it's more how comfortable are you in your subject, how much do you enjoy your subject, can you apply what you learn. So you really got to choose what you enjoy and what you sort of want to learn more about, rather than what you think is easiest, because it's all sort of a step up in A-level.
Okay, so do you reckon each of the subjects are equally hard in their own right? There's
no
such thing as easy
subject.
No?
No.
Yeah, but I would say if one subject doesn't necessarily have as much content in it, then once you get to the exams, the type of questions could be a lot more difficult, and then trying to really achieve the top grades would be difficult because the grade boundaries might be higher. So they're all difficult in their own right.
So at what point in your A-level programme did you realise, okay, this is a real step up from GCSEs, this is really different now? At what point do you think did you reach that?
I think it was probably about when the exams started.
Yeah.
I think in the first couple of weeks, you're learning content, it's quite relaxed, the teachers are aware that you're starting new things, so the pressure's not quite on. But then when you get to exams, you're doing revision on top of work. So that's when the workload starts to increase. But I would say that the content, it is a step up, but it also builds on itself. You don't start A-levels with the same level that you're going to finish them. So I think it's a gradual increase.
So it's you can tell that it's a 2-year journey. So quite quickly you can see that there's a natural progression within studying the A-levels themselves.
Yeah.
It's not really until November and the assessments that it really starts to hit home that these A-levels are tough. Impossible?
Not impossible.
No.
I get so much support and help that it just makes learning so much easier, if that makes sense.
Okay, so what kind of support do you get when you talk about
So
support?
you can get one-to-one. If you're struggling with a topic, for example, a teacher will always be there, and you can always ask them to just go through a topic again if you're not sure about that.
Okay.
So I think that's it's like unique to SWPS, I think, because I don't think you'll get that at another school.
Did you find your teachers really approachable?
Yes, they are, and they like it as well when you're asking questions. Like they want to ask them.
That is true, I do enjoy it.
Yeah. So just don't feel afraid as well when you need help. So.
Do you feel, did you feel that was something that you learned whilst doing your A-levels, that actually it's really important to be proactive and to actually reach out for help when you need it?
Yeah.
And you found that support was there?
Yeah, and the conversations start before, so it's also not necessarily, you don't have to start the conversation. There's lots of points where your teachers will check up on you. You've got constant with your form tutor, constant one-to-ones, and also with teachers will often, because of the small class sizes, it allows them to sort of walk around during your lesson and actually ask you, how are you handling this topic, just while you're doing some work. So there are constantly questions asked, so it's not always completely on you to start that conversation.
So how different is it then from lower school, from when you're lower down in the school, the teaching? So you're talking about the smaller class sizes, you're talking about having more attention from the teachers. What are the differences then, do you think, between A-level teaching and lower down in the school?
I would say that lower down is a bit more spoon-fed, so they kind of give you all the information you need to know, and then you go home and memorize it, and that's about it, and then you go do a test and see how much you can remember. Whereas here, there's just class discussions, and then you write your own notes, and you go home and you do your own revision. You don't get you get resources, but you don't get told in detail what to do.
Okay, so you have to be proactive.
Yeah.
You have to far more independent, learning needed, but also you need to be self-driven.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that mean that you kind of get left to your own devices by your teachers, do you think?
I wouldn't say left to your own devices. I think it's also how much do you want to do, and then they can always step in and they can come and they can provide the support sort of when you need it. And it's that kind of perfect balance of sort of you're given just as much you need to get you started and that ball starts rolling, and then you can build on that.
So teachers kind of become more like facilitators at A level, do you think? Yeah. So they help you access your A levels and what you actually need to succeed in them, by encouraging you that way. Okay. Do you think your teachers enjoy teaching you A level?
Yeah.
That's a big nod. Why do you think so?
I think you can just tell they're so enthusiastic in lessons, they're never boring.
Really?
No.
Really?
There's so many side conversations as well. It's just like, it's not necessarily, they actually talk.
People.
It's a much more mature interaction with your
And
teachers.
relaxed
Yeah.
as well.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Okay. So do relationships and dynamics change really between students and teachers
Yeah.
at A level?
Definitely.
Do you feel like you're treated more as a young adult than you are
Yeah,
a child?
definitely.
You definitely feel that difference.
Definitely, yeah.
Brilliant.
Mhm.
Okay. And you're enjoying that?
Yeah.
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 Fantastic.
Mhm.
Okay. So the A levels are hard, but you feel like you're getting support.
Yeah.
You can see that your teachers are enjoying it. Yeah.
Mhm.
And you have got to grips with the fact that it's like a 2-year journey, a two-year program. Do you feel confident that you are going to be able to realise your true potential by the end of next year?
Yeah, I think that the predicted grade process and the Alice grade has been really helpful in that. That we're able to sort of see constantly in sort of reports what our teachers sort of expect us to get. There are conversations about where you can get to, and based on you'll get a test back and it'll be you should be aiming for this amount of grades higher. This is what you can do with practice. This is how you get there. So there's lots of conversations about how to get around to the A levels in a year's time.
Okay, so you feel like you're informed on the progress that you're making, and you're able to see that those stepping stones and those milestones in terms of your achievement. That's brilliant. I'm glad that we're able to do that. Now that we're managing that, okay. So in terms of, because one of the most important things about, particularly for those students who do want to go on and indulge on their intellectual curiosity by going to university and getting themselves started and ready for careers that they want to do in the future. A big part of that is obviously being able to read beyond what's going on in the lessons and being able to engage in lots of supercurricular and extracurricular activities. Do you feel that SWPS enables you to access resources outside of the classroom? I mean, do you just get given your textbooks, or is there far more? Are there far more resources available? Do you want to give us some examples? Do you want to tell me?
With the sciences, I start off the year reading all 3 sciences, and I would get, a stack of magazines each to read. So just those magazines alone gives you tons of information to read. And then on Firefly, in library resources, there's so many websites you can access. And then teachers constantly going through topics. They'll casually suggest something that you can look more in depth into, or show an example of a video that they've seen that's related to this topic and say, you can go and look at more of these kind of videos. And it's just constant little
drip feeding
Yeah.
of lots of extra things that you can, or you don't necessarily need to,
Yeah.
but you can if you want to dip into them. And obviously dipping into them is what you need to do if you want to realise those potentials, because you'll get out of your A levels what you put in. Do you feel that that's a relevant comment?
Yes.
Yes. Why are you nodding so profusely, Lisa?
Because at the beginning of the year, I was quite stressed because I was doing 4 A levels. Because for some reason, I was 100% certain I could do that. And it kind of resulted in me not being able to give my all in all of my subjects. So my grades started slipping. But then as soon as I dropped the 4th one, my grades went straight back up, because just the time I had meant I could actually put my all into tests and homeworks. And it's just the little things. It all adds up, and once you put the effort in, it get the results.
Oh, that's brilliant, Harley. It's so nice to hear that. So you started with 4 A-levels. One of the questions that we actually got preceding the event, a student did ask, how many A-levels can you do? So universities only really want 3. Okay, that's the advice that we give our students. You only need to do 3, and it's best to achieve brilliantly in those 3 subjects than it is to do less well but have more subjects. Do you feel that being able to start with 4 was a good thing?
Yes, because I didn't know which one I was going to drop, and I was actually pretty sure that I wanted to do all 4, but once I got to A level and I realised the different changes and the different step ups kind of quite uniquely to each subject, I could kind of ascertain which was the one that I was going to drop, which I wouldn't have been able to make a decision like that in year 11.
And you were able to come to that decision yourself. Do you think that's a common thing, that SWPS sixth form allows you to make decisions based on being informed and that experience, and like we basically allowed you, we knew you were going to find it hard, but you didn't know which one that you wanted to do, and we could have said no, you have to pick 3, you only need 3 because you might fail, but we're like, no, you want to do 4, do 4, see how that goes. Are you glad you did that?
Yeah, and to be honest, I did get a lot of support from different teachers. I talked to all my teachers basically before I dropped the 4th one, and they were all saying really different things. So I think it gave me a lot to think about and make my own decision, because it wasn't just all the teachers saying drop it right now, you can't deal with it. It was kind of them saying, well, what are your priorities? And then that gives you something to think about, and then you can make your own decision.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you two, did you choose your subjects and stick with them, or did you have to change any subjects around at the beginning, or?
I chose my subjects and stuck with them because I think I just, like, since a young age, I kind of just knew what field I wanted to go in.
What
that
field
makes
is that?
sense.
What field is that with us?
So I want to do something like science related or MDV related. I'm still unsure, but I'm leaning towards MDV still.
Okay.
So I do biology, chemistry, and RS.
Okay.
Which is quite, I say it's quite different. I think people might think, oh, biology, chemistry, maths, but you don't necessarily have to do another core subject like that, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Or a STEM subject.
So you've always thought, I think I'm going to do something sciencey, medical related. So why did you choose RS as that 3rd subject?
Personally, I chose it because I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I just love learning about ethics and philosophy. And also, I think it's useful as well in terms of the medical field. Like, you can use those skills in decision making and stuff like that. And it's also something useful in life. If that makes sense. You learn so many different theories, which are also applicable in today's society. And I just think it's useful as well for writing essays.
Written communication. Building those arguments up and exercising those skills of analysis and evaluation in those essays, which will be really useful for a science or medical related degree. So I'm guessing because you're interested in MDV, you've had quite a lot of experience of the MDV programme. For those of you who don't know, MDV stands for Medicine, Dentistry and Veterinary Sciences, and we actually have quite a comprehensive programme here at SWPS to help support students who are interested in a career in those fields of medicine, dentistry or veterinary sciences, or any of the allied medical fields. So it's not necessarily as straightforward as deciding to be a doctor or a dentist or a vet. You could go into oncology, you could go into radiology, you could go into cardiology. There are so many different fields related to medicine or dentistry or veterinary sciences. So how do you feel the school has helped in providing information about that and supporting you through that?
The school has been really good. So Dr. Linda,
as opposed to the school, Dr. Linda.
Dr. Linda, yeah, Dr. Linda.
It's Dr. Linda. He's fantastic.
He has great links. So he finds doctors from St. Peter's, for example. We've had so many come in from different specialities as well, which is really interesting. And they come in and talk to us about how their life is, what they have to do there, because it's not always a straightforward path to get into medicine, dentistry or veterinary or any other allied medical profession. You can do a different sports degree, for example, and then end up there.
Yeah.
So having people come in from different professions within the medical field is so useful because it just shows like you don't need to stick to one thing throughout. You have that option there,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah.
We also get to do like little webinars, if that makes sense,
Okay.
which is quite fun. And he also puts a lot of extra opportunities if we want to do them, and that's up to us.
That's up to you to do.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so what are you doing, Sarah?
So I'm doing physics, maths, further maths, and computer science. I know all the fun ones.
So STEM.
So
The complete opposite of anything that I'm a historian. Okay.
Yeah, so that was, I chose those four, and obviously you stick with those four. I'm really enjoying it, and I think, yeah, I'm very happy with my decision.
Okay. Okay. What ideas have you got for future careers or future university aspirations?
Well, I'm planning to study physics at uni.
Wow.
I know, yeah. Popular. And yeah, so at the moment it's open days, it's looking around, going to sort of the elite applications club and looking at Oxford, I think, for me. And then in the future, I'm seeing where a physics degree can take me. I haven't got to the end of that yet.
What's the end of that? So you mentioned elite universities. So what's that about? Talk to us about that. What's the elite group, or super nerds, as I know that Dr. Ashraf likes to call them?
It's a little bit like Dr. Limbo running his MDB, and then Dr. Ashraf runs her Oxbridge group. So it's just every Wednesday lunchtime we meet up in her classroom, and she goes through another step in the process, because there is quite a few steps, and make sure we know what's coming, make sure we feel prepared, and don't get to September where all the deadlines come and then get really stressed out because we don't know what's happening. So generally just giving us an idea and make sure we are properly informed.
So this is in terms of applying to Oxford,
Yeah.
Cambridge, or other elite universities like Imperial and Russell Group universities for highly competitive courses. So this is a programme run by Dr. Ashraf to help prepare you for interviews, the aptitude tests, to stretch your intellectual curiosity outside of the subject areas that you're actually doing, to kind of give yourself a lovely repertoire of interesting things that you can talk about at interview. Do you, in terms of UCAS preparation, it's still quite early days for you guys, isn't it? Oxbridge and elite university applications aside, because that's a 2-year project, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
But in terms of UCAS, which is, UCAS is the central application system that British students do to apply to universities in Britain. So in terms of your preparation, still very, very early days. Have you had anything thus far in year 12 to help start thinking about universities and careers and the application process? Has there been anything yet?
Well, we've had some talks from Miss Haley about degree apprenticeships, if you want to go down that route. And I know we have coming up on Monday, we have our UCAS Day, which is basically from sort of start to end, what UCAS is, how you use it, what the different outlets are for creative courses, as well as the sort of typical ones that you think of, and just sort of providing all support and starting that like understanding.
Did you guys go to the higher education
Yeah.
fair back in March? What was that about?
That was just different universities came and had a little store and had a spokesperson, so you could go around the sports hall and ask all these people different questions, pick up, what are they called?
Prospective.
Yeah, so you could look at all the information.
Digital versions.
And yeah, no, it was. I thought it was really good to actually have that, because most of the information that you get in those books you can get online, but you can't ask questions online. It's actually having someone who knows a lot about uni, a lot, not just about the courses, but about the accommodation and the lifestyle and everything. They can actually ask questions about. It's good to kind of get your mind started thinking in that direction.
About where you're going to go and what kind of university do you want, a campus university or a city-based university, rural, as well as obviously the courses. and the importance that student welfare is at universities as well. So you're right. So we're very early on in our journey towards life beyond SWPS, and we had back in January your parents were given some presentations and information on your journey through sixth form in order to get to the other side, and we are at the beginning of quite a busy period for you guys, as you know. So Monday sees that virtual UCAS preparation day, which basically launches you into the busy time of writing those personal statements, those million gazillion drafts that you're going to write of your personal statements, which is like staring into your very soul and having to put it all on paper. But obviously in the autumn term, that's the UCAS term that we concentrate on in earnest, which you're looking forward to, I'm sure. Because it's the autumn term where you have a lot of your course work deadlines. None of you are doing MEAs though, are you?
Yes, thankfully not.
No, actually not. Okay, so that is the time when you're going to be busy with MEAs and also busy with the SWPS diploma. And you decided to do the SWPS diploma. The SWPS diploma, it's a unique qualification to SWPS, and it's something that the students may as well, the sixth form students may as well complete and work towards, because it's an accumulation of all of the extra stuff that they're doing on top of their A-levels. For example, if you are doing an extended project qualification, if you do DV, if you do the National Citizenship Service Awards, if you do work experience related to a medicinal course, for example, if you do a job, if you do any community service, any voluntary work, anything that you do, if you can demonstrate that you have characteristics and qualities that employers and universities, admissions tutors are looking for, of teamwork, adaptability, communication, initiative, resourcefulness, flexibility, any of those things, if you can demonstrate those qualities through all of this extra stuff that you do, you get a SWPS diploma, which actually goes on your UCAS application and is worth merit. So that's unique to SWPS. So I'm hoping that actually gets submitted in October. So I'm hoping that over the summer, and as you're putting together your UCAS applications, you're literally doing this tick box exercise to get your SWPS diploma up and running, so that you can pop that on your UCAS application. That's brilliant. I've just done a little workshop for you three actually. It's like hitting you three ahead. Right, okay, so lots of interesting questions there, and lots of interesting points there about the academic side of SWPS. But we're not just about the academics, are we? One of the questions that one of the students asked, which I thought was quite interesting, is about sports. So if you don't do PE A-level, does that mean that you never do sports again? Are there sporting opportunities in the sixth form?
So we definitely have PE on a Wednesday. So we have
PE on a Wednesday,
which is so fun. It's a full afternoon, so it's 3 periods. And everyone really enjoys it because it's no lessons. You're able to especially get out in the sun and just sort of get active together, and it's a whole new group.
Rounders.
Rounders
Cricket as well.
Yeah.
You do rounders, cricket,
And you're able to choose each week.
Yeah.
It's really, really flexible. And you, at the moment we can't, but you usually do it with year 13s and 11s. So there's always a big group of people for whatever activity you like to do, and you can really mingle with the other years.
Okay, so for obvious reasons, you're not mingling with year 11s, year 13s, because they're kind of doing exams.
Yeah.
Okay, so high on their priorities. So you mentioned rounders, you mentioned cricket. What other things have you been able to do? Because those are some things, aren't they? So what else have you been able to do this year?
So there's netball. So this year we actually started the under 18s netball team because we realised that before in previous years there hadn't been sort of enough people who were kind of up for giving up that time with how sort of busy everything was. But we managed to find some people in the year above, and everyone just really wanted to continue from this year. And we already have lined up for year 11s are going to come and join us, then the year 10s below them are going to come and join us. So we're really, it's going to become competitive now.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Yeah,
There's going to be fixtures and all sorts.
Oh, so we've had fixtures all year. So yeah,
Brilliant.
so they've been really good fun. It's great because you obviously get to become really close with the year above who you're playing with, and it's just really social, really fun, and just really sort of, it's a great break from A-levels.
Excellent. Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. Do you get to do anything like, is there like yoga, or do you go to the gym because there's that like riverboard?
I don't at the moment because in the summer term they don't continue it because this year I was the only year 12 that went to Riverbourne.
Wanted to go to
Yeah.
to go to the
So
gym.
it was a lot of year 13s and 11s, but now they're gone, so that we're not going for one person. That's fine, it's fine. That's fine. But yeah,
Flexible.
excited
Put
about
down your sort of-
yeah. But no, I really liked doing that because we could go to a Riverbourne and then sometimes I had classes on, but because of my schedule, I would just go to the gym and do my own thing, which I really like. Just have a bit of moment to myself on the treadmill, living the best life.
Okay, so any of those students in year 9 or year 10 are worried about the fact that they would have to leave PE at the door at the end of year 11. That's not something that they need to worry about at all. Brilliant. Excellent, that is good news. What about other sort of enrichment activities? Do you get an opportunity to do anything else in the sixth form other than the academic side of it and then PE on the Wednesday afternoon? Is there other stuff that you can do to fill your time or enrich your life? What else is there?
Well, there's so many clubs.
Yeah,
Let's just get involved
tons of
in
clubs.
tons of clubs, and we also like start clubs. Like for example, you.
Yeah.
What did you start?
So I started the dissection club, and I'm also currently helping to run the chemistry club every Friday.
Right, you started a dissection club.
Yeah. So
Dissection.
yeah. So
What are you dissecting?
well, we've
You
dissected.
don't want to know.
Oh, I do.
We've dissected lamb's brains, frogs, locusts, hearts. List goes on.
Who comes to your club?
Actually, quite a lot of year 7s. But we haven't really branched further out than year 7s. But if anyone wants to come, please come. It's every Friday, second lunch, we're in 238.
You are allowed to fuck it. So you decided that actually that I'd like to start a dissection club, and so you were allowed to just do that.
I talked to well, basically, yeah. I talked to Mr. Dubin, who is my biology teacher, and he thought it was a great idea. And then he talked to Dr. Lindbergh, who also thought it was a great idea. And then it just kind of
And it just evolved and it happened.
Yeah.
That's absolutely brilliant. So the long and short of it is, whatever you want to do, and as long as you've got the backing of a member of staff, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. And what has it meant to you to be able to do that, Lisa?
Well, I think it's a great source of kind of just passion for my subjects and biology and everything, where I'm not just sitting down revising for the next test, doing God knows how much work, reading because I love reading extra things, but there comes a limit sometimes, and this is very hands-on. It's just completely different to anything else I've ever done.
So brilliant. I know that's great, and also it's wonderful that you're being such a great role model to the year 7s as well, and giving them an opportunity to do things that they wouldn't do.
I love seeing how much they enjoy it, because some of the year 7s sometimes come up in corridors to me and it's like, oh, what's on next week?
Oh, it's brilliant to harness that enthusiasm.
Yeah.
That's absolutely brilliant. Do you do any clubs, Sarah?
Well, so I actually help out with coding club, so I've got the
Coding
same
club.
relationship with the year 7s.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you're basically you guys are just creating this generation of little STEM students.
Yes. We've got our little year 7 fan clubs who we're kind of bringing up to be just like us actually.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. I love that. Do you guys have any responsibilities? Because they know that you're head girls and female lead.
They have to watch us.
Till they say it. They're sat on the stage and they're doing what you do, quite publicly. Are you able to juggle? Are you able to manage these quite hefty prefect roles? So, for the sake of all the people who are watching this evening, Sierra is one of the head girls, as is Kaji, and Lisa is our female lead. So we have a female lead society in the school, and Lisa is the head of that team. So those are quite weighty, those are quite hefty roles and responsibilities. You've quite public, you have to come to a lot of these kind of events, and you're a role model for lower school. And it also, you have actually got jobs to do, which take time. How are you able to do that and manage your A-levels and all the extra stuff and the PE and the dissection part? How are you able to do that?
Well, I think a lot of our responsibilities fit around lesson time, so that's always really helpful. We've got our meetings on a Wednesday morning, and we're able to sort of, it comes down to sort of how good at your personal speaking, can you make the announcement? So it's a lot of sort of getting out that confidence. But I think the skills that you use aren't necessarily all time-based. Do you have the motivation more than do you have the time? So you could fit a task into a short amount of time, and you just gotta. It's very much, there's not much procrastination, but that's good because you need to get it done, so you do it, and then it's done. And it's this really nice sort of, it helps you to schedule everything because you've got that much more to do.
Excellent. Would you recommend taking on a prefect role?
Yes.
To people?
Yes.
Why? What's the benefit of taking on a prefect role?
Well, first of all, it depends. There's so many different types of prefect roles. So you've got subject prefect roles as well as, I don't know how to describe it, like other.
So you've got
the house related ones, subjects,
marketing. You've got well-being prefects,
diversity, equality, so many. And I think it's good to do them because first of all, it looks good on UCAS.
Yeah. I was
Just say. Yeah, I should say what I was going to say. It looks good on UCAS. And also, you get to be involved in like so many different things. Like you can set up events by yourself, obviously asking a teacher, but like you get to set up like charity events if you want to for a certain charity or something. You get to, what else can you do?
You can. Well, I'm physics prefect, so I'm running this Thursday. If anyone wants to. So we're doing for Women in Engineering Day. Me and Maria, who's the other physics prefect, we were just able to sort of come up with this idea, which we're trying to make. We're going to challenge the younger years to make bridges out of spaghetti and marshmallows. So just being really creative. It's really fun. We're going to get to interact with the younger years, and it's just sort of a great way to spend a lunchtime and sort of get that sort of mentoring opportunity as well, I guess.
So being able to actually affect change, which is what a lot of our prefects are doing, particularly female lead and particularly equality and diversity prefects on the head girls team, but also to like give back to the students and see them thriving off your energy and thriving off your leadership. I think you're a great team, by the way. Right, okay, so there are a few more really interesting questions. We've got loads and loads of questions. How about, here's a really good question. Do you think that the students at SWPS miss out because it's single sex?
No way.
not at all.
I would say
you're not
yes,
missing the fact that there aren't boys here.
No.
I think that detracts from a school environment.
Exactly.
I think they're
Why
kind
did you want to be this?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That's what we told us. No, it's like I wouldn't be doing as well in my subjects and studies if boys were around.
Why do you think that?
It creates a culture. It creates it creates a pressure to sort of worry about what your appearance is, worry about like what you're saying and how you're sort of acting in class. That I think in a all females, like it's a safe environment. It's comfortable, and it's you don't ever get that sort of energy or culture that can build around a mixed school.
Okay, so do you think that you're able to attain a kind of level of confidence and assertiveness that perhaps you wouldn't be able to do if there were boys around? Do you think, because you're all quite steady, you're quite sciencey, you're quite serious, I'm the person out being Victorian in the room. Do you feel that in a different environment, in a mixed environment, do you feel that perhaps in those STEM subjects you perhaps wouldn't have such a louder voice, maybe? Do you think that you do? You're quite confident.
I know friends who are at colleges at the moment doing STEM subjects, and it's not obvious, it's not outward, but there are these subtle things that creep in where there's energy in these assumptions that the boys will assume that they're more intelligent or that they're more sort of they're better at these STEM subjects, and sometimes learning in an environment like that is really tough. So I think it helps you to sort of you're never looked down on, and you're never thought of as less than your ability, because everyone just perceives each other as each other.
Exactly.
So it's a level playing field.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because there's tons of schools where, you know, there's one girl in the physics class and the rest are boys. And you're just automatically going to be the odd one out. And you shouldn't, but you will feel that you need to be more confident, and that takes a lot of guts.
Pressure.
Yeah, and you don't even have to think about that here.
It's a comfortable
Yeah.
Yes.
environment, and you can happy in your own skin. That kind of mark. I love that.
Yeah.
There you go. So on that theme, so quite a few students might be thinking, actually, I want a fresh start. I want something different. I get bogged down in school. My time's all managed for me, and actually, I would quite prefer the freedom and independence that like a college environment might give me. What would you say to a student who asks, you know, who says that actually they can get more freedom and independence at a college than they would here?
I don't think that a college, I know from experiences of talking to friends, I don't think there's a big difference in freedom. I think we've got our freedom passes that allow us to sort of leave the school. The lessons are the same. I would argue that ours is a lot more comfortable and freedom because of our small classes. I have friends who are in a class of 20 people. That's going to start to feel like GCSE, and you're going to start to feel like just sort of a big group of people and one teacher, whereas we've got that relationship with our teachers that
Small
so,
class
yeah.
size helps to do that. Okay. You mentioned freedom passes. What's that? I mean, I obviously know what that is.
Yeah.
People at home don't know what a freedom pass is. What's
Basically,
that?
in January of year 12, we get issued these freedom passes based on the fact that we're doing well in our subjects and our attendance is also good. And basically, it just allows us to go out in our frees and obviously come back if we want to, or if we have like an afternoon free, we can go home. You don't have to stay in school. And yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I just use that. It's a good
Yeah.
idea, really.
Yeah. Because we can come and go just like you would in a college. So
Yeah.
it's the advantages of a college. So yeah.
Do you find that you're trusted to manage your own time at SWPS?
Yeah, I don't think there's any pressure to. There's never a moment where a teacher's like, you need to use this free or you need to do this. It is you manage your work. There's also, I would say, less homework is set, and it's more pressure of if you want to work on it or if you're not understanding, then you can pick up the work yourself. And I think there is that motivation that we will pick up the work and we'll make sure, because we want to do as best as we can. So it's less sort of forcing you to do this type of question and this. It's what do you need to improve, and then you can focus on that.
Yeah, I mean, especially also as you're doing less subjects as well. You've chosen subjects that you're invested into learning about. You want to, you're passionate about, and I guess that helps too. Brilliant. Okay, fabulous. What about social opportunities? Do you have much opportunity to socialise in the day? You know, and just generally, are there any sort of sociable activities or things that happen in the sixth form which kind of enrich it for you?
Well, I know this is probably very specific to me and my friends, but I love the cafe in school. Me and my friends, every free at the beginning, we don't go down massive road down the stairs. That lady in the cafe sees us so many times. I feel sorry. We all go down, all get our snack, all go out to the sofa, sit, chat, relax, convince ourselves we're going to go do some work. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But that just environment, I love it. It makes my day.
Brilliant. So you're talking about the Atrium Cafe.
Yeah.
That sixth formers have access to
All the
All
time.
day.
All the time.
It's- I couldn't imagine that only going in. I remember we were only used to be able to go and break, and now we're all day. If that was taken away, then I couldn't do the sixth form.
And what's it like in the sixth form centre itself? What's that like?
It's really social. I think.
Big family.
Yeah, it's like there's loads of seats.
Exactly,
Everyone walks around. You can talk to everyone. It's not. I don't think it's cliquey. I think there are always people who are walking around. You can always talk to people. And there's also recently we've sort of like become much more mingling with the year 13. Sadly, they're going to be leaving soon, but there is that sort of talking to everyone social element that comes from like a shared kitchen and sort of shared study room.
Okay, so what if actually you want to concentrate on your studies? You're being serious. It's come to a point now where you've really got to get your head down and knuckle down. what facilities are in place to help you like really focus and get on?
Well, we've got the silent study, which is it's amazing.
Is it
It's-
silent?
Yes, it
it
is.
is silent.
Really?
Yes,
People
the
stick
people,
to it.
because the best thing is there are work tables outside. So if you want to chat while you work, you can use the tables outside. But silent study is for people who are wanting to focus and wanting that environment. And people aren't shy about being like, hey, could you take the conversation outside if anyone does say anything? Because people want to focus in there, and you really can. I feel like I can work much harder in that kind of clean slate room than I can sort of with everything busy going around at home. So in exam weeks, I love to just be at school and in silent study. It's
I never have to police it. I've never had to go in there and go, right, be quiet.
Mhm.
And I've always found that really surprising that the students just automatically, it's a shh.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of respects that
Yeah.
quiet.
Because there's different areas, so if you want to talk, that's fine. There is a designated area where you can talk, and the people who have gone in there have chosen to go in there because they don't want to be around chatter and they want to be in silence doing their work. And I think people have an understanding and respect for that.
Okay. Right, so let's say you've worked really, really hard all week, you're on top of all of your workload, everything's going really well, you've got a free Friday afternoon, it's 12:35, it's actually you can start going and have lunch at 12 if you're free, okay, and your mates are, you've also got your friend in your friendship group because you've all done similar subjects, so you know, because the timetable's worked out on blocks, you've got a lovely afternoon, what can you do?
I think lots of people go to the park outside of school. They use their freedom pass and they'll go. I'll sometimes sit on the balcony and you can go sit outside.
Go to Costa.
Yeah, you can sort of.
Do you ever keep back in the sixth form centre and just chill?
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
How do you do that? Do you ever put a video on? Do you ever?
Some of the
I
year
thought
13s.
sometimes,
Yes.
and we just join in on that as well.
Yeah.
So
There's often a movie playing on a Friday.
yeah.
And sadly with the A-levels at the moment, I think that's kind of.
No, that's not for a while.
Yeah. But there's also just sort of just sitting on the couches are so comfortable, and you can just sit and you can chat a little bit, you can sit and relax, you can watch something. It's just a really chill.
I love the balcony.
It's really nice.
It's a sunshine as well.
Yeah.
Isn't it? No students out there sunbathing there. Although obviously not that's like my hope. Okay, so do you regret not going anywhere else? Do you regret your decision to stay?
No, not at all.
Have you ever even thought about it?
No.
You know what it could be like elsewhere. Are you still friends with people who've gone to different places?
Yeah.
And what are their experiences like? Have you heard any?
Yeah.
Most of my friends stay, that's why.
I have ghosted them.
That's where most of my friends stay, so it's kind of irrelevant.
Okay.
So I have lots of friends that went to college, and I found that now they've sort of adjusted to it, but in September there was actually a real difference in going into A-levels because I was able to walk in full stride and I wasn't worried about friends, I wasn't worried about a new commute, I wasn't worried about a new place. You walk in, you know people, you know your teachers, you're already comfortable, and then your only focus is let's worry about the step up in A-levels. So from the get-go, I was able to work hard and sort of achieve sort of good grades that I was happy with. Whereas for other people, they've got there, they're in this new environment, there's loads of people to talk to, you can go, you're not necessarily pressured to go to lessons, so sometimes you won't, and the grades started slipping, and they worked their way up now, especially as the pressure's on, but I feel from the get-go, you are able to really focus and perform at SWPS and not have to worry about the stress of starting new.
Fresh. Did it feel like a fresh start when you joined the sixth form anyway? Or did it feel like you were continuing?
For me, it did because I feel like friendships changed. If your friends left as well, you're going to merge with new friendship groups and stuff like that, which I think is really important because like I'm friends with people today who I thought I'd never be friends with. So it's quite nice, and
the sixth form centre is so different to the rest of the school. I think in year 11 you spend your lunchtime sitting outside or you sit in a classroom.
Yeah.
But with the sixth form centre, it's like it might as well be a cafe. It's a really new environment where everyone is, and so I would argue that is a huge difference between GCSE and A level is just that space that is only A level, so it's separate from the school, and it's a real shift. And I think it's also you do get the year 11 common room, but it is a very different thing because everyone's there in the sixth form. It's just really nice.
So do you get in terms of like a typical day? Are you like from period 1 all the way through to period 9 in lessons, or do you have? Is it kind of staggered between teaching time and frees? Do you get a free a day at least, or how does it work generally?
Well, I take 4, so I have one day where I don't have any frees. But I think with such a long lunch break, you don't actually notice it, and you've got PSHE, and all the lessons are so different, so it breaks it up. But I know that you guys will have lots of frees.
I've got 13 frees a week.
13 frees a week.
And that's really useful because I get to do homework in that time as well. I don't have to do it all at home, so I get to relax at home as well.
Excellent.
So
Because it's really important to get that downtime. So do you find that you're working when you get? I mean, you work the entire day and then you leave, you get home, and then you're working the entire night and you go to bed. Is it are A-levels like that? Is it a constant? You're working, or
Sometimes at crunch points, I would say, if you've got a lot of tests, especially if they're piling up on top of each other, then I've had a few days where I'm like that recently. But no, generally I would say if I've done my work in my free periods that day, if I've actually used those free periods properly, I'll go home and relax.
Exactly.
Because I would say A levels are a lot more intense than GCSEs are. The content is more in depth, and you have to think a lot more.
You need to actually understand the content
Exactly.
and memorising it.
And
It's
that
not
just
memory
alone
anymore.
takes up so much more energy than GCSEs would. So
Yeah.
you need to have a balance.
it's important to have a balance. It's really important. It's a really important part of mental health. On that note, do you feel that the pastoral support is widely available? There is pastoral support available in the sixth form, or do you kind of feel that you're left to your own devices to get on and work and flounder? And do you feel that there are people that you can go to, that there are not just people available, but systems available to help support you, like with your mental health and with your emotional well-being?
Mm-hmm. Definitely, I think so. You've always got the wellbeing room, which I think people continue to use, and I think there's a lot of conversations with form tutors, and so especially if you have a close relationship with your form tutor, there's always someone to talk to, and also you could approach sort of any of your teachers. I think any teacher would be happy to talk to you and help you if anything's happening, and I've definitely used that in the past. And I just think the support's really there if you do need it.
Yeah, that relationship that you have with your tutor is an important one as well, isn't it? Because you see your tutor every day, so you still do registration, because it's a school, so you do still have to come to registration. But do you get one-to-one time with your tutors?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So sort of it'll probably be every few weeks, as your teacher will in certain registrations will take people, and so you'll probably talk to them every few weeks, but it sort of happens weekly, and they'll take people out and have a chat, and obviously that's your opportunity to talk if there's anything you want to talk about, but you're also perfectly comfortable to just be like, I'm doing really good at the moment, I don't really have anything to talk to, and then that's fine. And so I think just that one-to-one is always there.
You used to do, when you were lower down in school, you used to do PSHCE, didn't you? So in the sixth form, you do life skills instead. Would you like to talk to me about that, about what life skills is about and the kind of things that you've done in life skills?
Yeah, so we've got a booklet, it's the Vespa booklet.
Vespa. Okay.
I know what that's yeah. And then basically it just asks us like useful questions that we necessarily might not even ask ourselves. It just gets us thinking, like, for example, what are we doing after school? What are we aiming towards? It just keeps us driven, I think. If that makes sense. So it is useful. Like at the beginning of the year, I was kind of like, what's this Vespa about? Like, what is the reason? But then as I went through year 12, I just found it important. Actually, no, this is important. It helps me and reminds me like what my aim is.
Yeah.
In year 12, year 13.
So it helps to it's an A-level mindset, isn't it? This Vespa program helps to get you on board with. So helps you develop working systems that facilitate success, help you manage your diary, help you manage your workload, gives you ideas about what you should be aiming for, creating a vision.
Also reassures you, I think.
Yeah.
Because there was this graph, I remember, it was just like how you'd be feeling like each step of year 12 or something, or A-levels. And I just remember like feeling like, oh, I feel like this, I don't know if this is the right way to feel. And it was like, no, it's fine. Like
It's absolutely
It's absolutely
normal. I think you're
normal.
going to be coming up. I think it's November when you get to the trough of despair, famously. But then you pick yourself up out of that. We help pick you up because that's when it all kind of like all comes together with things like UCAS and things like your A-levels and everything. So it's very common that a lot of sixth form students, wherever you are in the country, are feeling like that. So what other things have you done in life skills? Do you get to look at like well-being? Do you get to look at health? Do you get to, have you done money or anything like that, or finances?
Yes, so we look at sort of taxes and sort of, it's more about preparing you for your future than sort of helping you through school. So that was what PSHE was.
Okay.
But now it's sort of it's also kind of some sort of more deeper and discussing topics as well. So it's a lot of discussion, a lot of learning, and a lot of applications for your future as well.
Excellent. So useful. Useful addition.
From a kind of female lead perspective, we've recently had discussions and watched some TED Talks about FGM, so female genital mutilation, which unfortunately is still happening in this world. And these are quite serious topics that you wouldn't necessarily talk about in the younger years, but because we're kind of expected to act like young adults now, we can talk about them, and we will, after all, this time next year be leaving school and going out into the big world, and we need to know that things like this happen, and just learning about our world and what society unfortunately sometimes is like, and just making sure that we're knowledgeable.
Yeah, there was also in that kind of idea we did a few topics on public sexual harassment as well, which I think was really, really important, and it also just opened it up. And there was a really mature conversation about everyone's experiences and with your teacher as well. It's kind of we could all relate, we could all understand, we can all talk about sort of how this affects us. And then it was also really interesting to learn about the legislation and what's kind of in the future of that. And it's just it's so much more mature and sort of a discussion than it was before.
Okay. So topics in media, you think? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. What are you looking forward to most about year 13? What kind of things have you got to look forward to, do you think, next year? Think about the current year 13 that have just gone. Well, almost. They've got their board on Tuesday, so I think there's one more exam meant to happen on Monday, but then after that they've got their ball where they can really get their hairs out. So if you think about what the year 13s have done this year, and you've seen them go through their final year, are there any things that you're particularly looking forward to? Obviously you're not looking forward to the exams next year, I get that. Okay, I get that. Is there anything else about the sixth form experience that you know is coming in year 13?
Christmas,
So I was about to say Swiss Panto. Yeah, that's really exciting. Yeah, it's something that you watch all the way up from year 7, and you slowly get to understand as you get up, and then all of a sudden that's something you can do and you can get involved. There's talking about who's going to play who, what's our storyline going to be, and I think everyone's already really, really excited about doing that in December.
I don't get it.
It's so
absolute excitement. I mean, it's something that do you feel like it's like a rite of passage?
Yeah, basically get a free ticket to make fun of teachers.
Yes. Great.
But in sort of a friendly way. That's what it is. It's never seen as rude. It's a friendly poking fun, and it's a collection and a roundup of your whole experience at SWPS. It's kind of it is a rite of passage.
It's always very funny.
There is a lot of pressure though. We've got to make it funny. So
each year it kind of oh my god, how do we top that? How do we beat that? So okay, but don't tell your ideas. Keep them.
No.
Got to be absolutely private on that. Anything else that you're looking forward to?
JD, junior drama. That's very exciting.
So you get to lead that.
Yeah, we see that. And there's a specific topic, isn't there, for like each house? I'm not too sure since I don't know.
It's the scriptwriter day tomorrow, so I think they get their themes tomorrow. They get a full day of timetable to sort of really sort of write that script, get the plan together, and just get really excited about it.
So these are the sixth formers that are writing the script, and then you have to go through it as if you're doing like a proper production. So you have to audition for. You've got to manage the production. You've got to. That's huge.
Yeah, I think it is a lot of
competition as well.
Of course. It's because it's within the houses. It's kind of
So do you still feel involved in houses at sixth form? Is it still because it kind of because if you've gone into that lovely community, that family that you said in the sixth form centre, is the house competition still a thing?
Yeah, I think coming up to sports day, it's starting to come up, and we've just sort of the house captains have all come out now, who all of those prefect roles. So it's starting to become sort of an our year group thing, the houses. So I think everyone's really excited about that. But I think everyone still reminisces about sort of being in the form together with who they were, and everyone's still friends and remembers who they were in a form with. So it's less sort of divisive because you're not in forms with each other, but there definitely still are events where it comes out.
Okay, right, so one more question, guys, one more question for all of you that I'd like you all to think about. And I'm gonna actually ask for a video to be played whilst you're thinking about the answer to this question, right, so you can reflect. If there was one thing that you could say that you love about the sixth form, what would it be?
There's so many things I love.
You ready? I am. I'm ready for the world. I'm aiming high, staying grounded. Yeah, it's been a journey. They've taught me to think bigger, go further, follow my passion. Because not all learning happens in the classroom. I never knew I could achieve so much, so far out of my comfort zone. I've been driven by passionate teachers, friends for life, and myself to find my own spark, pushing further every day, loving every minute. Now I'm ready to take on the world. Are you?
So, best thing about sixth form.
I think I would have to say the sixth form centre. I think having everyone in a central place where you can talk to everyone and have these facilities and a place to relax. And it's like just a hub where everyone's there. I know in colleges it can get divisive because of how big it is, but everyone's there to talk to. You've always got that space. You've got the silent study, you've got the kitchen, you've got that freedom. And it's just, it sort of opens everything for sixth form up.
I love that, Lisa.
I would say the teachers. The relationships that I have grown with my teachers this year, I've never felt like that with teachers before. I'm so comfortable talking to them in lessons, outside lessons, sending them a quick Teams message saying I really need to go through this, or I just need to chat because I'm finding life really stressful. But it's so important, and you don't really necessarily think about it day to day, but without it, life would be completely different at sixth form.
Catchy, top that.
What I did was actually I was going to say this, but besides teachers, I think it's friends, because it's like, for me, without friends, I'd honestly just feel so sad, if that makes sense. I'm just going to be honest. But because I have friends and that community around me who will always support me no matter what, and they also like motivate me as well in a way, like they'll put me on to the track I need to be on, if that makes sense. And they always just keep reminding me, like, these are your goals. And I do the same as well for them. Like, we all try to back each other up. We always try to support each other no matter what, especially when it comes to learning as well, which is one thing I didn't really do in like lower school. But here, like, we can always ask each other for help if we need, for homework, stuff like that, revision. Everyone is just willing to help, if that makes sense, regardless. Even if you don't speak to them that much, they're not going to say no to you. They are going to say yes. And it's just something comforting.
It's like you're in it together.
Yeah, we're in it together, and
Sense of camaraderie.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. You've been absolutely brilliant. So thank you, Sierra. Thank you, Lisa. And thank you, Caddy. You guys were amazing. Absolutely brilliant. And that was totally unscripted. I promise you, it's completely unscripted. There are lots of events coming up over the course of the rest of the summer term and the autumn term. current year 10s, you're going to be experiencing your sixth form taster day on Monday, which is very, very exciting. I know the teachers are working really hard to prepare those really interesting taster sessions for you. And you'll get some lots of information and guidance from the University of Bath to help you in choosing your A-levels, and also some more information from me. In the autumn term, the calendar is peppered with lots and lots of opportunities for current year 10s who will be year 11s to immerse themselves in sixth form life again through one-to-one sessions with our sixth formers mingling in the atrium, and also the sixth form open evening that is happening in September. More information about that to follow. In the meantime, if any of you have got any questions about the sixth form whatsoever, please do not hesitate to email them to me. Easy email to remember, sixthform@swps.org.uk. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Bye.